I'm Agnes Amita Wafoyo, and in a few days I'm going to be Mrs. Masinde. Yeah, I live in Sweden, but I was born in Uganda, Tororo. Currently I'm working as an assistant nurse, and I'm also still studying. And today I'm here with the love of my life.
Hi, I'm by the name Masinde Elvis. I happen to be an entrepreneur, and I'm so glad that in a few days' time, I'm going to be her husband officially.
So currently we have been so busy. I had to travel from Sweden because we had to plan the wedding, and then we also have the introduction during the same period of time. So it's been kind of a stressful week for us because we have to see that everything is planned well before the D-Day. And we've been doing a lot of moving around, putting together some stuff, and you know, when me not being around, it's really difficult to put everything together.
Before she came, I was really wondering how I was going to manage the preparations alone, but actually when she came in, we managed to join in efforts, and things happened to move smoothly. How we met, I remember it was way back in 2015. Yeah, I was chilling at home, and power happened to check. So I decided to go to town to the internet cafe. So I was surfing. As I was surfing, there came in a very beautiful lady. Huh? Yeah, as she entered in, my heart really melted. I felt like approaching her at that particular time, but I had nothing to connect me. So I continued with my surfing. So I was deep inside my heart, I was praying if she can just come and sit right next to me. So I think God listened to my prayer. She was surfing, and I think she got stuck somewhere, and she came and asked for my assistance. So as I was helping her out, she was busy typing, but I was just looking at her face, and I was imagining, I was like, how do I start asking for this girl's number? So we continued. She was typing. For sure, each time she was typing, my heart was really somersaulting deep inside there. I was like, what is this? So she continued typing, typing, typing. So as soon as she got done, I just had to ask for a number. So when she gave me her number, I remember as soon as I reached home, I had to call her that same day. I just asked her if she could be my friend. She didn't hesitate, she said yes. So I took it slow. It took me some time, like some 1 month. That is when I began vibing her. Vibing her, she gave me a hard time, you know. She would tell me, first wait, I'm still thinking about it. So each time she would tell me I'm still thinking about it, I would get worried. I would go look at myself at the mirror. I would be like, what is making this girl delay to give me a yes? Huh?
I was actually minding my business. I'm like, yeah, I'm here just to do my stuff, like quick, and then I leave. And then I got some problem, and I was like looking for the person who works there, you know, to help me. And then I was stuck. I first of all feared, like, how am I going to start talking to this guy? I don't know him. He was the only person who was next to me, available, and you looked calm, you looked humble. I'm like, yeah, maybe it might be quite, you know, helpful. So I just said, excuse me, can you please help me here? So he asked me what's wrong, so he came and helped me. And we just started picking up some conversation right there, like, do you stay around here? Do you stay around town? How long have you stayed in town? What are you doing? And just like that, I kind of fell free with him. Yeah, fell free with you, babe. And he asked for my number. I just, okay, because I had felt free with you, like we had this conversation like about, you know, school life, you know, and, you know, just talking about yourself, what you're doing, family. It felt like I've known you for a very long period of time,
Yeah.
you know. So I gave you my number actually because I was like, next time maybe we can meet up at the cafe. Yeah, but then I didn't really have it in mind that maybe there was something more.
Yeah, actually, I remember you were putting on a white dress as soon
Yeah.
as you came in for sure.
So,
I was typing, but even my hands froze at that particular time because I've never seen a beautiful girl like you in that city. So that is why you see, I even failed to concentrate on what I was doing. I was just deep inside my heart praying that if you could just come and sit right next to me, or even if you just say a word would be enough on the day. So I thank God that it so happened that you came and asked for some assistance from me, and that is how I came to know you.
it was actually that period after my senior four. So I had my senior four VAC, and then during that period of time, it was like some sort of transition in my life because I was supposed to move to my mom who wasn't staying in the country. So I was actually just having like, how do they call it, a dead year kind of, because I was making preparations to travel. I was just, I had just finished my senior four. So I had all that time to like chill around, go to the cafe, you know. And that's actually where we had our first meeting.
Well, as soon as I'd gotten her number, I reached home first, relaxed like 1 hour. Then I truly believed that she had already gone back home. I had to call her. So I called and she happened to pick up. We interacted. She asked me a lot of questions, where I come from, what I'm doing, level of education, and I remember by that time I was in my senior 6 VAC. Yeah, so we spoke, we interacted for long, but I remember the first thing I asked her if I could be her friend. She asked me which kind of friendship. I just told her just a friend, because I didn't want to rush, because had I rushed, I knew she would have refused. So I first wanted to study her, I wanted to just study her.
Yeah, by the way, I remember you actually called me. I was still moving in town because I had told you I was supposed to take a walk home. And then when you called me, you know, in town with all the commotion, I was like, no, let me first reach home and I picked this call. So when I reached home, I actually, you called again and then I picked. And then I was like, who is this? Because I hadn't saved your number. So I was like, who is this? And then you're like, Elvis, we just met. But then remember, your accent had totally changed. Like, you were talking like kind of like British, you know, accent.
Of course.
The vibing accent. And then I'm like, wow. So you were talking to me like, hey, it was nice meeting you today. How often do you come to the cafe? And then you're like, can we be friends? You know, I was like, all right. But I didn't really have that in mind, that maybe it could be more than just, you know, friendship.
Yeah.
So I remember that day we really had a long chat on phone. We had a very long chat on phone. And then after that, we could go into texting, because remember, we used to have free calls.
Yeah, free calls, then text,
SMS and stuff like that. So, and then after a while, I had to travel to them. It was in November. So I remember before that, we actually had to meet several times at the cafe. And then, then one day you just told me, Aggie, can you come maybe to our place? Because you had a place, you had a home in Tororo. So I happened to pay you a visit one afternoon at your place, and actually you're living with a brother.
I was living with a brother.
Yeah. And so it so happened that I had met Andrew before, like your brother. I'd met him before. And so, and he had known my family because we're neighbors. before that. So it was a surprise to meet you guys. I mean, I didn't know that you lived together, so it kind of made me feel a little bit comfortable more. Like, yeah, I'm like home, you know, I really felt at home, and you were so welcoming. And then like people cooked. I remember that day they cooked some delicious food, and we really talked a lot. We really talked a lot. And then it was that day that you looked at me into the eyes, and you told me that, you know what, I seriously like you. I really like you so much. And you wanted to find out if I was single. Yeah, I told you, yeah, I'm single, and yeah, but then I told you, give me some time to think about it. I didn't really give you a reply there and then.
It was really a surprise to me that Andrew knew her, and I was like, how come that Andrew knows this girl? Andrew told me, actually, I know this girl. I saw her growing up, because I remember way back we used to rent one of their houses, and the fact is, that is how I got to know her. So Andrew sat us down, encouraged us, and that is how actually he's like a big brother to me, and that is how actually Agnes gained confidence. Though she took some time to give me a yes, but at least as soon as she saw Andrew, she gave me a yes after some time. Yeah, she gave me a yes.
I was quite scared a bit. Yeah, I didn't give him a response because I was scared, babe, because you know, meeting a guy for the first time and he's telling you he likes you, I was like, am I really safe? I mean, let me give it some time to really know who he is. Yeah, I wanted to give it some time. Yeah. And it felt like I'm being so difficult.
That is it. You really gave me a hard time. You know? Gave me a hard time.
But you didn't give up. So we kept on meeting from time to time, like, though I was really under strict security at home. Yeah, I remember, like, I was staying with my dad because my mom had traveled already to Sweden, and then he was so strict. I used to just have like excuses, like I'm going to the cafe, and maybe we could meet for some minutes there and then I told you one day that, you know what, I'm traveling to Sweden, and I can't promise you that I'll be coming back anytime soon. And remember, you were so shocked. I mean, you just first of all left what you're doing and you first sat down. You asked me, are you for real, or you're just trying to run away from me, kind of? So I told you, yes, I'm serious, I'm traveling. And so when I traveled, I had to tell you bye-bye. And then I actually promised, yeah, we shall keep in touch. But deep inside me, I was really finding it difficult. I'm like, I'm traveling, I might finish like a period of 10 years without coming back to Uganda. I remember by that time, I'm like, young, you know, I wasn't like an adult by then to make my own decisions. I was under parental care and guidance, and so I didn't really have, but I really felt in me that yes, I've met someone special to me, though I couldn't conclude in mind at that particular moment that are we going to make it, you know, because of the distance. I'm living with my family, and you're this side. And by that time, you know, problems with the internet, connection, also communication, the time zone is different. So I felt so bad, like, how am I going to cope? You know, I've just met someone and I'm supposed to leave after a short time. I was really feeling, will you be patient enough? You know, I mean, are you going to talk to me? How serious are you? And deep inside me, I just thought that this guy is going to forget about me. The moment I just step out of the country, it's going to be like, bye-bye, that is the end of it.
Yeah, actually, me, as soon as you told me you went to Sweden, I actually felt so heartbroken. Reason being, what ran into my mind was, the hung guys that side. So I was like, these white guys are going to take over. So the fact is, I won't lie to you, I was truly heartbroken. But what gave me the courage is, I remember you kept on lying to me, actually. I remember you used to lie to me. You tell me, Elvis, I'll come back next year, I believe by December. So that really gave me courage. But I remember the challenge we encountered was that time I had a button phone. And communicating with her was very, very difficult. So I truly needed like a 5K to communicate with her for just 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Direct call, on a direct call. So I remember by that time, those button phones, editing would be a problem. Remember, she was using a smartphone. She sends you like 5 messages. She wants you to reply them at the same time. Remember, you're struggling with a button phone. There is no you can edit. So I remember I even used to, I used to send messages that had a lot of errors. In that, up to now, I still have those messages. I look at them and laugh. But I truly want to thank God that I still had faith in you, and though I had that button phone, at least Facebook was there, it really bridged the gap. Continued communicating until I remember in 2017 is when I acquired my smartphone, my very first smartphone. So that is when our communication became so easy, in that if she wants to see me, she just tells me, honey, turn to video call. She sees me very well. Voice call, anytime we want to communicate. So at least I would know where she is, she would know where I am. So at least me, I remember it's the phone that has kept us together, and more so WhatsApp.
Yeah, WhatsApp. So when I got to Sweden, I got my first smartphone too. My mom bought me a phone. And I remember the first time she gave me a telecom line, that side, it was Leica Mobile. And I remember starting using, the first person that I called was you. So I called you, I said I arrived safely, and then I had to connect to Facebook, started chatting. But you know, we kept on chatting, and then I had an aunt who told me, Aggie, I hope you're not chatting with any of those guys in Uganda. I was like, why? She was like, no, right now, just focus. You're going to get a muzungu. Like, I'm like, what? I just kept quiet. So I kind of had that fear that maybe what they have in mind is someday she's going to live here for such a long time and I'm just going to meet her white, you know? But then deep inside me, I felt bad. I'm like, I have someone that I left that side. It really has hope because you kept on calling. The communication was consistent. It kept on going on and on. And then time came when I just gave up. I'm like, I don't have any hope here. I'm not traveling back to Uganda anytime soon. But you kept on communicating. And then I just stopped talking to you because I didn't want to hurt you. I felt like if I continue talking to this guy and then I don't turn up at the end of the day, he waits for me for years and years, I'm not going to Uganda, it's going to be so painful. So let me just cut him off so that I just let him go and he just moves on and gets someone else. And so I tried blocking you for some time. I blocked you, we stopped communicating. Surprisingly, you had to create different Facebook accounts just to get to me. And then you told me, Aggie, why did you, cut off the communication? What is happening? What is wrong? But deep inside me, I was just like, I don't know. I don't really have any business in Uganda anymore. I felt like I'm moving on with my life. I have, I may be going to meet someone here, and yes, there are people who are trying to come to me. Because even in school, like high school, you meet like different people. But then still, though you may give it a try, like, yeah, let's talk, you don't really feel the connection. I still had you in mind, like in my mind, but without hope. I was so hopeless. I didn't have anything in me telling me that this will work out. Nothing at all. So in 2018, I returned to Uganda because we had a family event. I had a cousin who was wedding in December, and we also had like Thanksgiving. So we had to come back, like the entire family, back to Uganda. And I remember I'd actually lost contact. Like we weren't talking, though we would talk, but you look for me. So I said, maybe let me try in any way that I can so that we can link up with you just as friends. I didn't have it in that maybe you still love me, you know. But then I was just like, maybe I might come in 2018 and I take maybe like in 5 years without coming. Like, let me just check on you and see how are you doing, you know. So when I looked for your contact, I got it actually from a mutual friend. And then I called you and I was like, can we link up? And actually we met here in Kampala. And it was just for a short, you know, period of time. And then you're like, you've really forgotten about us, you know. I just said I came to check on you, how has been life. You told me what has been happening. Things haven't been easy. You know, you try moving on, but you just feel stuck in the same place, you know. And you actually told me again that I still love you and I'll wait for you. I don't know how long it will take, but I don't care what you're telling me right now. And I'm praying, I'll wait for you. So you made me laugh that day. Actually, you came with my picture in your wallet. You remember in 2015, there's like a picture I took in the studio and I sent a border man. Because I remember calling you that day and you asked me for my picture. So I had to go to the studio, took pictures because you had given me your pictures. And then I called you, I was like, I'm coming home. You're like, I'm not around. Then I was like, let me send a border man. So I told the border, just push the pictures under the door. So I gave you wallet photos and you had my wallet picture. And then you told me you had gone to pray. You went to Mutundu Christian Fellowship, that church of Pastor Tom Mugera. And you were telling me it was like a new year. Was it 2016? No, 2017.
It was
2018. Yeah, it was that same year. Crossover like to the new year 2018. And then the pastor was like, just pray for 2 things that you want God to give you. And then one of the things you took out my wallet picture and like, God, I want this lady here to be my wife. And so you told me that you're like, if it's God's will, then you eventually come back to me. I didn't really say, I'm like, no, maybe you're just having a dream or kind of, you know, because I wasn't that serious about everything. So I told you bye because I was about to travel back to Sweden because I was in Uganda just for 3 weeks. And you requested we meet again, but it wasn't possible.
You met me in 2015. I remember right from the whole of my high school. I was a drunkard, a serious drunkard, and the whole of Toronto knew about that. So that time, I remember the time I was vibing you, I used to ask you about your likes and dislikes. I remember one of your dislikes where I don't like guys who are alcoholic. So, for me, I remember each time you'd come to meet me, I would make sure I don't drink for 2 days, so that you come when I'm smelling fresh.
Not to drink.
So, I remember, you know, where we used to stay, we had lots of blackmails. So I remember times they would call you and tell you, you know what, that guy drinks a lot of malua, that guy takes a lot of waraji. So I remember one time you called me crying that a friend of yours had called you that, will you manage Elvis unless you know how to brew marua? So,
so I told you.
You called me, you're all crying. But, you know, since I loved you and I didn't want to lose you, I was like, who is deceiving me? I don't drink, you know? But I remember later on, I'll tell you the truth, I told you I drink, but I drink little. But I remember I promised you one thing. I told you, there is time for everything.
Yeah.
I'm drinking now, but I promise you, by the time we shall meet again, I'll have stopped drinking. So I remember it was in October 2016. I happened to give my life to Christ, and I stopped drinking. I remember I texted you. I told you, you know what, babe, I've stopped drinking. I remember that day you told me you were going to celebrate. Yeah. So you know, we kept on communicating. But I remember you were avoiding me so much. So what was running into my mind, I would think maybe, is it because of the alcohol story or what? So I was like, what is the problem? Why are you avoiding me? Actually, I had a lot of negative feelings. I thought maybe you've met someone else there, maybe a white guy, as I thought, because remember the first time you told me you're going abroad, what ran into my mind is, it's a must you're going to get a white guy. It was a must. yeah, it was a must. I really had it in mind, but I said, let me just be strong,
Yeah.
because we are not the same. We are
Yeah.
not the same. Human beings are different. So we kept on moving. Though we had barriers of communication, we had a lot of barriers in communicating.
2018, I traveled to Uganda December, then I had to go back January. And so when I went back, I really didn't have that in mind. Like, you were so serious telling me, Aggie, I still love you, and I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you. Even if it takes how long, I'll wait for you, and I'm praying that you be mine. So, but then I didn't have you in mind. So I actually dated. It was in 2018. I was dating, and then my mother knew about the relationship. But then things didn't really turn out well. And so, you know, like, I'm kind of a spiritual person too, because I pray, I'm a Christian, and then I had like a spiritual mentor kind of, I pray with her, and she had that blessing, that gift, like she can pray and maybe get a revelation or something like that. So I got really stuck after this relationship. I'm like, God, I'm really tired of this. I think I'm just going to stay single. And so when I talked to this lady, she was telling me, you know, Aggie, I think you have a husband in Uganda. And I'm like, no. She was like, you have a husband in Uganda. So at that time, I wasn't even thinking about marriage or anything. Marriage was the least thing in my mind, because I was thinking of doing medicine, and medicine there takes a period of about 5 years. Think about that journey. How am I going to fix marriage with medicine, and then you have children coming in? So I was like, no, marriage is not a thing for me right now. I'm going to still focus on my education for now. And then after this bad relationship, it took me a while. My mother was like, Aggie, I think you should do away with relationships for now. Yeah, you were communicating, you know, not every day, because I kept refusing. I mean, just doing something to block the communication. It's either I hang up or network interferes, or maybe I wasn't really taking him serious, because he confessed the love to me, but I wasn't really felt like ready, not sure about him, because I was like, maybe this guy is just telling me he has someone else in Uganda, you know.
That's true. Yeah, actually, even me, I was dating. I remember in 2000, it was in 2018. Yeah, it was in that 2018. I happened to meet a sister. I met on the way. I happened to preach to her. She asked for my contact. So I go back home. Sister calls me, tells me, Sebo, I enjoyed your sermon, but then I crash on you. Trust me, this sister, the fact is she was beautiful. As a man, I was like, how can a babe vibe me? First said no, I have someone. So it first took me like 1 month. Then I vibed her myself, and she accepted me. So we didn't even last. We lasted for just 2 months. Just 2 months. You know why? Because the fact is, I really loved Aggie. That is the fact. And each time I would move on, she would either call me or I would be the one to call her. Because I was moving on with this girl. We moved on, then time came in, we're becoming serious in our relationship. That is when Aggie called me and told me, you know what, Elvis? I'm coming to Uganda. So I went and told this girl, you know what? I'm sorry, I have someone. This girl cried, but I told her I'm very sorry. She told me it's okay. So I was, deep inside my heart, I was happy Aggie's coming back, we're going to reconcile, we start from where we stopped. But still she came, you know, she was giving me that attitude. I was like, what do I do? But you know, since you want something, you persist. You persist. Actually, you've forgotten. I remember it was in 2016 is when I prayed to God. And I believe prayers work. That is when I believed prayers work. That day, Pastor told us to pray for 3 things. The third thing was you. I remember I wrote on my list, it was you. I told God, this is the girl I want. Though it took time, you know, God, these things are gradual sometimes with a reason, but the later happened. So in 2018 we met, but still you're showing me that attitude. But I said, I'll not give up. You know, when you want something, you persist. So I truly persisted, but our communication still was not moving.
Yeah, it wasn't.
So, you know, Aggie was this kind of girl who loved blocking me so much. She truly blocked me. I believe you blocked me more than 1,000 times. She blocks and she blocks, then she unblocks. But we kept on pushing on, but you know, she didn't have feelings for me. Then I remember it was in 2019, December. I don't know where the feelings came from. That is when we began communicating, serious communicating. The communication that has led us to where we are right now. Last year around May, Aggie's mom had come to Uganda and she wanted to meet me. So I went and met her, we interacted, she liked me. Aggie's brother was also there, he also liked me. So she went back to the village. So she was telling me, I want you to meet Aggie's dad, you could interact. So each time I would call Mama Aggie would tell me, I've called Aunt so-and-so, she's coming. Uncle so-and-so is coming. So I was all alone. I was like, how can I go to face all these people alone? I had to call Aggie and told her, you know what, why don't we just do a pre-visit? Let's take a level of faith. I know they're going to ask me, when are you going to marry her? I just told her, let's just go and do a pre-visit and take a level of faith. Within 1 year, we do both the intro and wedding in the same week. She was like, Elvis, I buy that idea. Because you know, one thing I love about myself, even if I get something little, I'm this kind of guy who saves, either in the bank or my saving box. So when I broke my saving box, I had some money. I told Aggie, you know what, let's set a date, 29th of May, I'm going to Coachella. I'm going for a pre-visit, sorry. So when it came to 29th,
Yeah,
I had to tell my family about it and we happened to go. But you know, Aggie was like, now, how shall we make it? I'm not there. I told her, let's break a record of our own.
Yeah,
let's break a record of our own. Even if you're not there, remember, they created WhatsApp, they created Zoom and wherever. You'll be watching us live. Just relax. So she was like, it's okay, Elvis, I buy the idea. So that is how we happened to go. Reached there, they welcomed us. You know, it really ate. This people gave us full chicken, I'm telling you, you know.
Actually, I was so happy about it because it came as a shock to me how things unfolded at a very quicker pace. He was a kind of person that my parents really loved and they accepted him. They really loved him so much. My dad, my mom, because even if I hadn't told my dad, but himself, he was like, I love this friend of yours and I really wish he could become a son-in-law, you know. So after that, he just told me, I want to see your parents because I want to take these things to the next level. And now when he said that, those are one of the things that really pushed me and made me know that this man truly, truly loves me from the bottom of his heart. And I'm like, I think I need to settle for such a person because he showed me love, commitment, patience, tolerance, you know. He was there for me. He kept you know, keeping on like with the communication. He kept persisting on the same thing. He didn't give up, you know. So it really made me know that this is the true man. This is Mr. Right for me. And so they went for the Coachella and I wasn't there because I couldn't travel because it was the period that I had graduation. Yeah, and also COVID was there. And so my parents were home, and so they're like, let him just come. It's not like an introduction whereby we need you to say something. Let him just come, and we do it at, like, in-laws meet and talk. And so he came home.
Yeah. Actually, after the Kuchala, my family asked me, Elvis, how are you going to manage 2 functions at a go? Me, I told them I serve a living God. He is the owner of all the banks in this world. He will provide. So me, you know, I just took a level of faith and truly believed that those days that we set, because the fact is, those days I remember I was at church, the 28th and 30th, I told God, these are the days that I want your name to be, these are the days that I want, and I truly want your name to manifest on these 2 days. So indeed, God provided. And we are going to wed, and the introduction is also going to take place. Yeah, so after the Kuchala, the dates were, you told me that you set the dates because you really wanted to make it official. Yes, so I was really excited. I was so happy about it because it really showed me that you're kind of a man who keeps his word, you know. So I had to start preparing because you told me we have a period of 1 year, and like a year looked so long because we had family who were like, it's so far, why did you push it up to like 6 months? So, you know, May, December. So you were like, we need time to plan because we want 2 ceremonies at a go. And then I had to start planning in Sweden. I had to start putting things together. How am I going to travel to Uganda? We had to start getting service providers, like communicating with them, you know. So it was just a year of like preparation, a lot of preparation, like to see if everything is going to go how we want it to go, put things together. Yeah, so I thank God I had Safe Journey Masses. I traveled, and then we are here actually planning the wedding, the introduction. It's a hectic week, kind of, you know, because last minute you have to go look for the gomeses, look for the jewelry and everything. So I have to move, but he has been so helpful. He has really been giving me the comfort, encouragement, telling me, let's just do it once and then we know that it's also done, you know. It's a one-time thing. We have to really do our best to make it colorful. So we really thank God that who has pushed us this far, that we are now expecting our ceremonies. Well, I'm excited that you're finally here, and you're officially going to be mine. You're going to have that name of You're officially going to be mine.
Yeah.
You're going to be Masinde. Yeah, I'm so glad that we are going to wed and this does finally come. Yeah, and I'm so glad that our wedding will be broadcasted on UBC. Yeah. Yeah,
I'm really glad that we happened to share our love story on UBC Platinum Memory Lane. I mean, it's so amazing. We just hope that our story, our love story, can inspire someone there. And I want to tell you guys, don't lose hope. If you're in a long distance relationship, just don't lose hope. If you see any like if someone you're with encourages you, I mean, don't lose hope. Like, I've had people say long distance is not good. I mean, they don't encourage you, there is no hope, but it can really work if you two are committed, you have a high level of commitment, communication. Then it requires so much discipline, because remember, he's in Uganda, I'm in Sweden. We really had to be disciplined enough, and also faithful to God, you know. So long distance can work if you have those, you keep those qualities in check. Yeah.
Yeah, my last advice to men outside there,
And even to
you truly need to be patient. If at all you're in a long distance relationship, all that requires for a long distance relationship to stand is communication, trust, and having fear for the Lord. That is how you can prevail. Yeah.
I think my last word to the young people watching us, since we're a young couple, and really feel like we want to inspire, anyone there who's watching us today. Don't lose hope. Just stay committed to one another. Love is a great thing. I mean, if you find it, then treasure it, Yeah. But just stay faithful to one another, loving to one another, kind, generous, patient, tolerant. I think those are one of the qualities that can really keep you going. And forgiveness also. Forgiveness is really important.
I'm Ivan Omagoro, an OB to Elvis. We studied with Elvis back in Toronto in both O and A level. I've known Elvis. Anyway, in high school, our friendship was not so strong. I knew him just as a friend, not more than that. Not yet heard about Aggie. I think that time they were not yet dating because I did not know him a lot. But it was not until recently when he contacted me through Facebook and he was like, Ivan, how are you? And I was like, wow, after how long? After this long, where is Elvis contacting me today? He told me I'm organizing for, I had seen his kuchala I had seen his previous on his Facebook account, and I sent him some congrats and all that. But when he contacted me, told me I'm organizing for a wedding, introduction and a wedding together. I was like, wow. So how can I come in? He told me, Guy, I want you to be my best man for the introduction. And I was like, wow, how do I begin with all this? I told him, okay, I will come to your wedding meeting, to your introduction and wedding meeting, because they were together, and we shall plan more. So it was just, I talked to him then, I think 2 days ago, I fractured my hand, and I really thought that now I'm out, we are not going to do nothing. But one thing I'm very sure, that I'd never seen my guy very serious on any girlfriend like this. And the way he's serious, I just pray. I pray to God, let him give him his heart desires. Because the way he's serious, the way he's telling me about this girl, Aggie, I've not yet met her. But I know, surely, if my guy is speaking like this, then he knows what he wants. And all I can do, I can just support him as a friend. And I pray to God, come that day, let us have a very good weather and everything works out for them.
My baby boo, you were mine. I'm a yipulira manjeno, nessa nyulinze tarinjinyo. Mobona fune mumanyire mukwela linkirira. I will love you so. Omutima ulire kuchucha, ulire kukonga, kukondereyo. Omungo ulire ndowooza, ulire kudduka, kutuukireyo. Ekiroto kyange kyatuuka. I will always stand for you. Nchakulabirira kigwanidde every day. Ono kiriya, kiri kiriya ewange, sirinafiya. Kasita onjagala okkiriza, ono kiriya, kiri kiriya ewange, sirinafiya. Kasita onjagala okkiriza, ono mbala, ono lugoye lwakwambala, abasinga e Kampala singala mwanyi yasukko. When I want to go jendaga, siwulekanga walinga kawo. Ye daddy ye papa, mwitana manyaga musana. Baby byefululoza, kimubitoroza kumeza. Atekwe fireman n'omuliro bwekukwata onzikankanya. Ono kiriya, kiri kiriya ewange, sirinafiya.
and would like to give a shout out to our dear parents. My parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ocho. My mother, Mrs. Ocho Kezia Nyakecho. She's not here today because she didn't manage to travel, but then I really want to thank you for your generosity, your kindness, your big heart. Thank you for accepting my husband into the family and loving him, taking him in as a son. And my dad, Mr. Chabmelek, thank you so much for the love, the kindness. And then to my foster parents in Sweden, Karin and Stefan Valberg, and your children, Joachim, Josephine, the grandchildren. I am so grateful to you. Yeah, jag vill tacka Karin och Stefan för kärlek som ni har visat mig och min man Elvis. Vi är så glada att ni fick resa till Uganda och vara med på våra bröllop. Gud välsigne er, och vi tackar också era barn, Josefin er svärdotter, Joakim er son. Vi tackar också Jakob, er svärson, och hans fru Jenny, er dotter, och er barnbarn också. Vi tackar er alla och Gud välsigne er. Och jag vill tacka alla våra vänner i Sverige, i Campingskyrkan Skellefteå. Vi tackar alla som har hjälpt oss, alla kompisar som vi ber med i Afrikansk Kongo-gruppen också. Gud välsigne er alla. Baby, I thank you so much for the love. Thank you for the commitment. Like, I'd really given up on, I didn't know there can be this kind of love. Close to God is love. You really feel the kind of God is love unconditional, forgiving, tolerant, constant. Thank you so much for your patience, your love, generosity, faithfulness. Thank you for accepting me as I am. Thank you for loving my family, my friends, everybody around me, loving everything that I do. And also thank you mostly for loving God and for keeping your word.
Babe, thanks for loving me. Thanks for choosing me out of all those 1,000 men. Thanks for closing your ears. I know I had a lot of force. I had many people were fighting me, like who were against this relationship because of my past. But thanks for closing your ears and listening to me. I truly pray that God stands with us, and I believe He's the center of everything.
Amen.
Yeah, with Him we shall manage. Yeah, I love you, baby.
Love you too.